Greetings, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monad, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monad. For those of you that are new here, I am a professional intuitive empath. So good to share energy with you today. Come on in, guys. Get in here. Get on in. Have a seat. Thank you for inviting me in. Quick message from Client Lessons. So, if any of you guys are getting some block spins right now, or it's happened in the past, where someone says to you that they realize that their friends or family influenced them, and that's why they became the wedge or the third party, I want you to examine that thoroughly, and I want you to reject it completely. You can accept their apology and their acknowledgement of being influenced, but in this life we're here to learn lessons, and one of the lessons that they will have to learn is that they can't be in that vibration. And here's the reason that I'm going to tell you not to take them back into your life, even if you've wanted it. I had a client that was praying for reconciliation. Her man came to her. He said he realized the error of his ways. He had allowed a third-party energy in the form of his family and one of his favorite broski friends to interfere with their relationship and to interfere with the way that it's going. Actually, as we're talking right now, I'm channeling Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Jennifer Lopez. In the beginning of that relationship, Matt Damon did not like Jennifer Lopez. He's far more conservative. At the time, we didn't know that. But as Hollywood has evolved and as actors really kind of talk about their political alliances, we know exactly Matt Damon's politics. The point in that is, the whole relationship was too liberal for, I believe, Matt Damon's personal ethos and aesthetic, which is kind of a 1950s Mad Men, as far as I'm concerned, juxtaposed against Ben, who was like very, ironically, Trump-esque, and his lavishness and his exuberance and excess, okay, and his addictions and his all the things, allegedly, not allegedly. So Matt did not like Jen for Ben, and he predicted it would end tragically and predicted that he should get away from her. But because he was influenced to do that, we've now seen this 20-year block spin happen where he's back with Jen, and it looks like they might get divorced again after getting married again. But the reason I'm saying this, or I think the reason that the angels are channeling this to me, because it was not a thought that occurred before I turned on the camera here, is that, wow, Ben has to do the work within. So this applies to you, meaning he block spun, and maybe he went back to Jen and said, yeah, I was young and influenced, and Matt and whoever else didn't like you, and I've always loved you. So now they think they have this hot and heavy redo, which is, maybe they had unfinished work to do. From a soulmate perspective, that's another thing to examine for another video. But in this one, whatever issues that were happening there between Jen and Ben are still there. And whatever insecurities that split or the not choosing or whatever happened in Jen are still lodged in there. And that's stuff that they have to work out. And that's why I advise you is let people really work it out without you. That was a lesson for Ben to work through, that he allowed a friend to influence whatever the trajectory of his relationship was to a certain degree. Allegedly, what do we really know? But in your life, you know what you've gone through. And in my client's life, she knows what she's gone through. And she allowed her person to come back to her because he came back on bended knee with apologies and realizing that people were jealous of his relationship and this and that and whatever, the whole gamut, right? And I was like, I know you want him back. And I know the feeling, guys. Oh, I love love. I know the feeling of having someone. I know the feeling of having someone feed into you in a way, and you just feel replenished, especially if it's someone that's maybe gone away, right? And then they come back with real words and your real face, and the makeup energy is incredible, the makeup sex is incredible. That's very tempting, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do, which is kind of get someone's hooks back into you. But if their mental was unstable to choose third-party energy, no matter what the dynamic, family, friends, lovers, exes, whatever, we've seen it in all configurations, or I do specifically in my line of work. So whatever the dynamic is, I look at the person who you were with and I say, they need to do their work. It doesn't mean that you haven't done work. And usually if we're working together, you're doing your work. But what I'm going to tell you about this is this. If they could be so easily thrown off course, what's to say that can't happen again with new family or friends? Let's say they completely obliterated whoever their toxic karmic tribe was, and then they get a new one. And then they can still influence the vibe of the relationship between you and that person because they've not really cleaned up anything inside of them. They have not really done the heavy lifting. They've not scrubbed it all away. They've not really done the things that they said that they were going to do. They're kind of leaving it up to you, and they want you to take them back. I get it. They were messing with me. They were messing with my head. Well, why is your head that easy to mess with? Because you on the other side of the relationship could not have been wavered. You would not waver in the face of being tempted by people. I know a lot of you guys have been in relationships or maybe people didn't like the people that you were with, whether they were toxic or not, whether they were wrong or right. But what kind of 10 toes down did you stand and put up a fight for your relationship? Empaths, you know how we do. We are out here brawling in the streets for our boo. Whatever. Whether it's a friend, a lover, whatever. And so, don't you deserve the same? And if you could be so easily wiped from their mind frame, if they could forget all of the joy and the pain that your relationship endured and how much you gave to them because of a few simple manipulative words from whoever, then that's not someone that you really want in your life again. And even if you accept their apology, let them do their own work and not do the block spin in 20 like Ben and Jen, because you still end with the same reality when someone can be influenced by their family and friends. It's always going to end the same way. It's my biggest turnoff personally is third-party familial dynamics, because I see how it destroys families and lives. Not just my own interpersonal experiences with it, but looking at it throughout the years. I've worked with over thousands of clients, guys. It always goes that way. And there's points for it spiritually, and we could look at it figuratively, and we can think about it metaphorically, but the problem is it destroys your actual reality. Okay, all that's nice, all that conjecture is nice, but you're living the life. And if someone could be that easily swayed, do they deserve to be back in your life? People can apologize to me, they have remorse, they send me telepathic messages, hazard of my job. The block spins in my life are quite intense, because I don't just get the physical ones. Those happen too. I get it in every single interesting direction from all these expos and lessons, really, is what they were. Karmic lessons. So I'm telling you guys, I get it. But I always send them away, wish them well. I send them away, wish them well, and send them away and wish them well. And it's not exactly that I say go to hell per se. If it doesn't warrant it, not every person does warrant that. But some of them absolutely do. Some of them don't ever deserve to be able to sit in the same room with you. And of that I am absolute, and of that I am resolute. If you don't have it in your system, borrow some from me. Some of them don't even deserve to breathe the same air as you, family. Some of them were so crude and cruel and mean and diabolical liars, man. I've dealt with a few in my lifetime, and I know you have too. And even if it's someone that you love, that was very close to you, if they could gossip and treat you that way with their family and friends and listen to what they had to say, and they did not choose you, even if you were the best thing or the worst thing or whatever, the thing they had committed in whatever way that you guys had committed, don't let them come back in your face and play. Also, don't forget it. Doesn't mean don't forgive it. I advise you do, but don't forget that, because that means that you can always be played too. On the flip end, let's talk about what takes you back into those relationships again and again. Because, you know, in this community, the empath community, there's a lot of like victim dwelling. Like, we're always like, oh, and they got us again, and we're the chosen ones. And I you guys see videos here like that too, I'm always going to encourage you. But that's why I want us to operate in duality, so that we can take a look at this part too. How come you attracted that to you? It doesn't mean you're a bad person, and it doesn't mean that you have a similar energy to the narcissist, but you have a wounding that allows a narcissistic relationship to exist, or you had a wounding that allowed a narcissistic energy or relationship to exist. And that's the way that I want you to start to look at that, because a lot of times in the like attracts like, then you think, well, let them unlike the narcissist then how come they came in, and how come that happened again and again? Well, it's because you had a deficit for love. You had something that you needed filled up. And when you put it out there, and I certainly have too, this is what I'm missing, and here's what I would like from you, then people can pretend that that's what they would do or want to do, when absolutely they really don't want anything to do with you. They just want something to be attached to. Karmic energies attach, okay? Not really connect. They attach. So you could be at 99, or maybe you're at 89% on your healing, and you are connecting with someone who is at 5% on their healing. The only thing they can do when they attach to you is to hurt you. You understand? The only thing that they can do is hurt you when they attach. They're not going to help you heal. And one of the things that I've really been examining in myself and asking my clients to examine for them is, why did you want to be with this person? I often, if you ever have worked with me and we've done relationship talk, you've heard me. y'all don't have to say much downstairs, so you can stay private, and no one has to know that we work together. But you all know that I've asked you about your partners intimately, and I've said, why did you choose that person? What was it like when you began to date them? Because what I want us to do, consciously or subconsciously, is to be in touch with our own reality. Why did I like that person? What was going on at the time for me? I remember when I met my toxic twin that changed my life and made me cynical and made me take back my power. I just left a cult on my own. In my own power, I was treated atrociously. And I was the only black person in this very white, southern, racist space in Alabama. And people were mean, not just behind my back, but to my face and behind my back, because fun. And I was in the spiritual warfare of my life. And my angel said, run. And I did. I escaped. I got out of the discipleship incubator. I walked away. I told them all what for and who to and whatever. And they hated me. And they thought I would be dead by now, actually, I'm sure. And they wished me dead. And so I ran into my twin directly after that. In fact, I met my twin as it was happening. We worked at the same preschool. And she came up to me and she said, how come you never invite me to your church? And I was like, bitch, run. You don't want to go to my church. Trust me. I was trying to get out of the cult. That was the heading and the management of that said facility. And so I said, you know what? Maybe a little Bible study. But life takes a turn. The point is, we'll get out of the soap opera telenovela of it that it turned into. But that's how come I met my ex-boo that was so toxic and that I locked in with. And I was coming from being treated like pure, absolute shit. And I felt lonely and I had a deficit and I needed to be healed and I needed to be nourished and nurtured. And even if some of her behavior was toxic, it was much better than what I had dealt with. And I share that so candidly and vulnerably with you. You guys have heard me talk about my twin a lot because it has a lot to do with the work we do here at times. But I've never told that part of the story. And that's the real truth. And I think my angels allowed me to drop my defenses with that so that you could understand maybe and take a look at your life parallel. Where were you when you met the narcissist? What was happening in your life? What interpersonal dynamic or relationship was or wasn't working for you? What parental wounding did you have from someone that may have been narcissistic as a parent in your life? If you can identify that, then you can identify what drives you to reconnect in future relationships or why you might end up in similar things that are toxic. I've had to do a lot of shadow work in the last couple of years because I asked for experiences and I got them. But what it caused me to do was reflect on where I was at, what was my deficit, and how could I get in that position. And I want to pass that along to you to do that level of deep reflection. So if we're going to say to them, well, you got brainwashed so easily by these people, what's going to be the difference next time? That's the question I want you to ask. Then on the flip side, since they're always worried about, we think we're so perfect, we're not. We just actually do our fucking work, that part. So on the flip side, what vulnerable area were you in? What were you coming in and out of? What way didn't you love yourself? Can you be honest about how you may have wanted something? You may have wanted love. You may have wanted connection. You may have mistaken codependency for a relationship because it just felt good to have someone checking in. Message. Oh, we talking. We hurting feelings right now. The angel just said, oh, that hurt somebody. Oh, don't be mad at me. I love you. I love you guys. But we're going to stay in reality over here. Okay? A lot of empath, woo-woo, love and light. Bullshit. It's this. This is the reality of it. That's nice too. Rainbows and unicorns, and you know that stuff over here on this channel that we do. But what we do too is examine our shadow. What weird thing do you do that gets you into those toxic relationships repeatedly? That would even have you consider letting someone spin the block that was so easily affected by their friends and family. And what that means to me, and this is what I always tell my clients, is if they were that affected, they held those core beliefs about you anyway. It was so easy for them to be swayed. And that's why when someone betrays me, I immediately excuse myself and step aside from them and get out of their way. Because they will do that again. In your face, again they will play, because that will become their favorite way. A lot of people are really cruel about how we love them. And so they brag to their friends and family and call what you do simping and all of the rest of it. And people around them they don't realize, it's so crazy to me. What they don't realize is that people around them are incredibly jealous of the way that you are loving someone. And so they will do a lot of things to disrupt it. They wish they had the love. You know, what's so funny that I see that happens with my clients all the time, it's happened in my life. People have worked so hard to be like, get away from this person. They're the devil, right? When they're actually the devils. But beyond that, they have secret crushes on some of my clients. They have the people in my life that have done all that have low-key wanted to be with me. I've had people that have totally disrupted relationships come back around, spin the block to shoot their shot. And I'm like, I thought you hated me. You were like part of the, well, I can't even talk, guys. You were part of the like pitchfork gang. You know, you were like trying to get me out of the paint, and they were like, oh no, I just didn't feel like they deserved to even have you because, you know, I knew how they were really doing you. Like, people are wicked, man. So they'll ruin up your whole ish only because they wanted to take a turn. They wanted to get a hit. Okay? That part. You have to be so careful. And so if someone, and the person that you're in, like ride or dying for, and you're like, this is my person, they're going to see it. This is my husband and my wife. They love me. They don't realize that people are seething with jealousy about maybe the way that you might be dealing with someone, and they want you gone, and they almost wish it could be you. They wish they could switch places with you. That's something they would like to do, and so they try, and some of them do. But don't let those people back near to you or next to you because they tried you. Oh God, can you guys hear me? They tried you. They thought ill of you, and it's okay. We all think ill of people at different times in different ways, but there's a loyalty. A lot of us empaths have never broken that to a certain degree regarding like that, you know, breaking up with someone to be with someone else because of what family said to do. So I want you to stay really clear about that and remember, but also do our duality shadow work on the other side. What nonsense was in your head? What way were you trying to get some needs met? What deficit and what hole did you have in you? You know, recently I found myself in a very dissatisfied situation, and it was simple and it was new, but I was like looking at it and I was like, and this just happened in the last like couple weeks, guys. I was looking at it and I was like, I don't like this. And I realized that that's when I really had done some growth, you know, what I would have maybe tolerated before for a longer period of time, what I would have thought would have worked out fine, what I would have thought was, oh, I'm just biding my time, I'm just making it up in my mind. I was like, nah, your intuition is on overtime, my love. Honor yourself and divorce yourself from this messiness because it doesn't fit anymore. You know, as they say, if the shoe fits, wear it. A lot of us were wearing shoes that no longer fit. You're not part of that timeline anymore. The negative attachments don't feel the same for you. You love yourself more, no matter what anyone else thinks about you. When I felt the way that I was like, oh, this is unacceptable to every part of my core, and staying attached to it's only going to cause me anxiety, I detached. I detached completely. I felt not at all sorry and felt like, yippee for me. I felt real, like I had learned my lessons. Like I know what drives me and so many of my own personal connections, or relationships or interpersonal dynamics. And I can tell when a client or a friend or a family member is about to go rogue. And when I realize it, now I just much faster let it go. Even if I'm fully entrenched and it takes a while for me to know or to release and let go, I still let it go, and I'm proud of me. I'm proud of you too. Okay? Your angels want you to know you guys are figuring out stuff like that, like what you just won't tolerate. It's just so much more simple for you now than it ever was. And they do not want you to regress. So be careful about those blocks that get spun from people that are like, it was my family, they were the one, maybe, or their friends or their broskies, in the case of my client, whatever. But they, to some degree, took part in that endeavor, and they believed whatever slander was being said, it was already playing in their head. They just had someone to co-sign with. Karmics will always have to co-sign and gang up in a group. That's why you notice that empath, that many people will come across, against you or across you. And so what they're saying to me here about that is that you stand alone very often, but karmics have to like whisper together, gang up together. I don't like them. Can you believe they did that? I know that's not what I would have done. That's not how I would have spent. That's not what I would have done. That's not what I would spend my money on. That's not how I would have done that relationship. I wouldn't have done that. Like, they don't even realize. Like, I just hear the chatter of your karmics. Just a lot of hate, y'all. And they have to do it together in a bunch because they're very weak. A lot of them are not free thinkers. A lot of them are very hive mind mentality, very often that. So they really can't stand your individuality. The tall poppy syndrome energy is coming to mind here very strongly. You are the tall poppy, and so of course they're going to try to cut you down. But you're supposed to be a tall poppy for a reason. So they can stay exactly where they are in their energy, but don't diminish your creativity, your bravery, your uniqueness, your whatever. You deserve to be you completely. So be very careful about who you let come back in if they're blaming family and friends. They had a lot more to do with it than they would let on. Also, take accountability for your vulnerability, where you have been and haven't been as you've gotten relationship to relationship. What were you looking? What was the deficit you were trying to fill? That part. Be honest with yourself, because that's the only way that you can get the desires of your heart met. You have a thing that you really want, empath. You know, I have a card that I'm picturing. It's out of the Biblical Tarot, and it's the Empress. And the Empress in the Biblical Tarot has this radiating heart with a halo of light coming from behind it. It's glowing. It's just so beautiful. I can almost hear like the sound of like sound waves and warmth. Like, it's just, that's the way that people see you emanating. And from that heart space, I want you to tap into that and figure out what it is that you are co-creating. What feels right for you in relationship? Exactly what feels good and delicious, what feels fair. Now, pay attention to what feels good there, and then pay attention to what, if someone brings something to you, are they an energetic match for that feeling? Meaning, people will say words to you, oh, da 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 da, and then do exactly what they want to do, what's comfortable for them, just to deceive you, or just because they just don't want to put any work in. I don't know what people's motivations are for the way they behave. If I had that answer, y'all, I would be retired. I don't know. But I will tell you that if you don't feel like what they're bringing you matches that heart's desire, then fly higher. Fly higher and higher and higher. I'm channeling an eco right now. Water, air, earth, and desire. What you feel now is desire. Higher, higher. Yeah, I don't know if I got those words right. I don't think I did. But the point is, go higher. That part, kid. I love you guys. Go higher. And wait until whatever your heart feels matches the heart that is brought to you. Don't pay attention to their words. Pay attention to what they do versus what they're saying to you. But what they do is what really matters. And that feeling is what is going to guide you to knowing it is safe to give my heart to this person. If you feel anxiety, if you feel skittery, if you feel anything like that, that anxiety is your alarm system. Don't fight it back. Embrace it. It's there to save you from a lot of hardship and wasted time. And that's there, sent to you, dispatched in, that intuition, so that you can actually connect with whomever is your divine, but also it's sent in from the divine. Pay attention to that internal system. If your heart doesn't feel that magnetic glow with someone, they're not safe for you. Pay attention to the red flags that are around you. And also, maybe take a minute to write down a couple sentences about where you were the last time you got into the relationship that you just got out of. It might give you a few answers. That's light shadow work, guys. It's not so heavy. It's not so bad sometimes. Where were you? What relationship did you just come out of? What was happening when you decided this one's next? All right. So good sharing energy with you. Come back and join me next time. We'll continue to evolve together.